All right, so this is going to be a full long-term review of the ULX. And yeah, I did make a initial impression. So if you want to see like stuff like the software and stuff like that, that's going to be for that video. This video is mainly about how the mouse held up and like the full in detail specs and stuff like that. So use my codes in the description, like and sub, all that stuff. But yeah, so this mouse is obviously $180. I think everybody knows that. 37 grams. This is the medium here that I have. And I forget, I think this is a Lion or something like that. Anyway, it's using Omron 20M switches. It's using a TTC encoder. It's using Omron side buttons and a Pixar 3395 sensor with 4K to 8K compatibility. So those are the specs. And yeah, so a few things I want to talk about first with this mouse are the use of the Omron 20Ms, because a lot of people aren't going to like that. But actually, I think in this mouse, it works great. So I will get into that in a minute, but let's just talk about the first stuff. So the weight, 37 grams, obviously it's great. It feels like 37 grams. It's super light, and yeah, in the box, you don't get much. You get like this Corsair level braided cable. You get a extender. This is the battery life right here. I just charged mine a little while ago. You get grips, and that's it. The grips are not even worth showing because they're that awful. They're really like that bad. Like, just get something else. It's bad. I would rather use straight up tape than those. But yeah, actually, let's get into the shape first. Everybody knows the classic Finalmouse shapes. This is just a bigger Ultralight 2. It's basically Viper Mini size, just without the hump. That's basically what it feels like to me. It's about, I forget, it's literally Viper Mini size. So yeah, I believe it is like 121 by 56 by 37, something along those lines. Actually, I have my notes right here. 121.3 x 56.8 x 37. It's a fingertip or claw mouse. If you have small hands, I do have smaller hands, so I do claw it like this. I even claw my Ultralight 2, which is, I know, weird, but like it just feels good to me. Now, battery life. So this is using a 250 milliamp hour battery. This is going to get you about half a week on 4000 hertz. I've only been using 4000 hertz. So if you're 1000 hertz, 250 milliamp hour is way more than enough. That's way more than enough. But for 4K, that is, especially 8K, that is a little bit low compared to the other competition. But granted, this is much lighter than the other competition. So that's basically that. And yeah, so the main switches, they do have a little bit of pre-travel, as you can see, and a little bit of post-travel, but it's actually a good amount. These are factory bent Omron 20Ms. They feel extremely consistent to one another, and since this mouse is using carbon fiber composite, what this means is that, so magnesium, which they were using on the SL12, is very dense. It's very harsh, so you're going to get a very harsh, blocky kind of click. With this, you're getting a very bouncy, very light spammable click, but some people might consider this mushy just because the material that they're using is very flexible. That's why some copies have that little bit of flex here or something like that, because that just comes with the material. It's kind of unavoidable in a way, without adding tons of weight. And as you can see, my battery life just went down. On the camera it looks red, in person it's yellow. It's medium battery. So the main clicks are great. I don't have any wobble concerns still. A little bit if I force it like this, but it's a split click design, so you are naturally gonna get a little bit of that if you force it like this. But other than that, very consistent clicks. The side buttons have been updated a little bit. Same position, same material, same switches, everything, but they're now glued in. So they're extremely stable. Probably the best side buttons I've ever used. Easily the best side buttons I've ever used. Perfect amount of pre-travel. A minuscule amount, but a tiny bit. And literally no post-travel, like, at all. They're perfect side buttons. If you are a company just make ULX side buttons, and you'll have the best side buttons. And I just hit my mic, sorry about that. The scroll wheel, it's using a TTC encoder. It is magnesium, and it is centered, as you can see. And it is super it's super heavy when you click it, first of all. So if you click this a lot, you won't be able to. This is a very heavy scroll wheel and very defined steps. If you like a very defined step scroll wheel, like a Zowie wheel or something like that without that sound, you will like this. And I will give you a sound test now. Right and left click, scroll wheel, side buttons. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about is, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, obviously USB-C and the switches on the bottom. Mine does not have a piece of tape under here that you might see in other videos. I haven't opened mine. It's just that mine is batch 1 right here actually. So it does collect dust on the bottom, but it's like I just wipe it off. As you can see, I just wiped it off. It's all gone. So anyway, yeah. We'll move on to the skates actually. So the skates are the stock skates. They are the same skates that they've been using for forever. They're actually great on the SkyPad. For whatever reason, they're not as good on cloth pads, but for whatever reason, Finalmouse skates are absolutely amazing on glass mouse pads after broken in for a little bit, which these definitely are. No complaints. I don't need to change them at all. They're actually one of the best skates I've used on a SkyPad specifically. That does not go for cloth pads, but for SkyPad specifically, these are the skates you want to use. And the coating, chalkier than the SL12, not Atlantis chalky, just a good, slightly minusculely chalky coating. If you hate chalky coatings, you can still probably use this and be fine. But the material really does not feel like that special. Maybe because I've used the SL12 before, but it doesn't really get cold to the fingers like the magnesium did or anything like that. It just kind of feels like, wow, this is a different material, and then that's it. But yeah, that's the QC. I guess we'll move on to. I have no issues with my copy. Most of the issues that I see just come from the material. Like if you force this in, I'm not going to do it, but if you do force it in, you probably can break this mouse just because of the material it's using. That's how it is. It's not supposed to be the most structurally built mouse out there. It's supposed to be meant for lightweight. So if you take this and you just squeeze it in your hand, it's probably going to break or something is going to go loose. But without having destroyed my mouse, this thing is great. I don't have any popping like anywhere besides like way down at this hump, barely ever. You can't hear it or feel it. I just know it's there just by like a little tiny press. But other than that, there's no bending, flexing, anything like that anywhere on this mouse. There's no creaking, none of that. This is considerably better built than any of my SL12s are. Much better. So yeah, I mean, that's really have for this review. Great mouse, gonna continue to be my main mouse probably, and yeah, that's the end of this video. If you want to have the best mouse on the market, just buy this and you'll be set. So that's the end of this video. Peace, and use my codes, like and sub, all that.